everybody. Brandon Jones here, editor-in-chief of GameTrailers.com, and I have to apologize. It has been a bit of a transition moving into our new offices here to Phi Media, and one of the casualties, other than the GT Countdown, which is a totally different topic, has been the regular schedule of Let's All Go to the Trailers. Hopefully, we are back on track now, because if you can't go to the trailers regularly, you should see a doctor. I mean, it's something that you should check right away. Especially us being here at GameTrailers.com, it's something that we need to do on schedule every week. It is time to go to the trailers. If you have about 20 minutes, let's all do it. Let's all go to the trailers. I'm joined by Mr. Kyle Bossman.
Hi, everybody.
And Mr. Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
We are here. Lots of trailers to talk about. We had huge events. We had Gamescom, and we had to catch up from that. We just had PAX. We got TGS coming in a couple weeks, so it is definitely an event-driven season of trailers.
We already have TGS trailers.
Yeah, we already have pre-TGS media coming in. So a little bit of everything here, hopefully, for the show. A little bit from PAX, including a big, exciting live-action trailer that just came out recently. Lots to talk about. Let's waste no time and get into it. If you put Led Zeppelin in your trailer, it's automatically a win for me. Are you a Led Zeppelin fan, Kyle Bossman?
Not in this instance.
Do you enjoy classical music, Kyle Bossman?
Yeah, that's funny that it's called classical music, sure.
Oh, right.
I think it's cheap. I think it's cheap in this trailer.
Wow.
I don't think they did much to warrant the use of the song.
It doesn't necessarily fit the subject matter other than it just kicks ass, you know, and that's what they're doing at the same time.
So,
like the lyrics
yeah.
don't fit it or what the intent
Yeah,
of the
this
song.
feels very much like when they did Greatness Awaits, you know, back when the Sony launched. Bring real people into the game in a way, and it's definitely very cheesy, but it's a fun cheesy, you know. It's like just we're gonna have a party playing this game.
It's like, hey, let's put our real selves in these game worlds, and I think that's what they're trying to press here.
Whether you're into this or this is making you want to play Destiny more or less, do you think this is a smart marketing play for Activision to make right before the launch of this massive game?
Halo would never do this. You know, Halo would never have just people like talking regular smack to each other.
They probably let Rooster Teeth do that, which they've done in the past. They've let them kind of be cheeky,
Yeah,
speaking through the helmets.
right. And so this trailer's called Become Legend. That's the last two words we see at the end of it. I didn't see any legends in this trailer. I didn't see anybody becoming a legend. I didn't see the emphasis of this game being huge. I saw like, hey, this is Call of Duty. Just hang out with your buds and have some fun.
Have fun is the words I was looking to pop up.
Sure, yeah.
You know, this, and actually that's kind of how I feel about Destiny, is that it's an MMO that I can really bring my friends into without this massive, you know, oh, you got to craft and you got to do, oh, there's holidays, you got to get involved, you know, all these things that typically tie people or people think are like mandatory commitment as far as MMOs are concerned. This thing, we just hop on our bikes and run around and blow stuff up. Yeah, there's a plot there if you really want to get into it, but if you don't, if you're that type of player, maybe I would have liked to see a little more differing personalities come out between the three. One guy was really into the plot, one guy really wasn't, was kind of like your casual Halo player.
Sure.
Like one guy's not very good at the game and the other two players have to pick up for it.
That would be kind of funny to see in something like this.
They're all
just struggling.
They're all just kind of amazing at it. Or them interacting with other players. Maybe we just see the three of them, where obviously Destiny is massively multiplayer
seeing them
shooter.
cross paths with some more people would be cool.
How does this look? I mean, did they pull off the visual effect of making it live action? Does it seem bizarre? Did the planet seem realistic?
All of those things seem realistic except for the enemies. You know, when that guy who blows up by 2 grenades looks like fake. You know what I mean? But I do like it. I like the real helmets and things.
Yeah.
Again, it was real people. This is us being in the world. It kind of sells that point.
It hits that sweet spot where I love this music and I get that they definitely want to play up the energy of how much fun it is to play the game. I wish you could queue up tunes in the game. What a tease, you know?
Sure.
I wish you could just tell Dinklage, like, yeah, just put Radiohead on loop, you know, while I'm
Absolutely.
running through this cave here. I think it's fun. I think it's a smart play to do something big budget right before. Obviously, you're not going to learn a lot more from this trailer. It's not something like that. It's literally something, it's just the hype machine. And really focusing on getting your friends together, which is something that, I don't know, there's a lot of repetition that's happened in Destiny's campaign, in my opinion. We've seen a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. So maybe it doesn't necessarily work for every franchise. I think it works here. I think it's a smart play. I don't know if it's a 9, though. I'd probably give it an 8.8. Just because you spent money on this, and it's a slick trailer, and it's quick. The jokes are fast. You know, you don't really dwell on anything for too long. So I like the energy here.
What you're saying is right. This is a different way for them to advertise Destiny than we've seen. Those first 3 shots I really like a lot, where they show the 8-ball and the painted bunny on the shoulder and like the number of kills or whatever. I think that is really cool because basically we've seen these people wearing hoods since Destiny was launched, or announced, I mean, and we haven't really seen personality from the game. and this is the first time we see personality associated with Destiny. I just think, hey, if you're going to show personality, you should get some better voice actors. 7.8.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot that went into this. I mean, obviously the locations are huge. The base jump at the end is funny to me because, like, they jump down to that hole like you would jump in a video game. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
They're not jumping like they're about to, like, pull a parachute or anything like that, control their fall. I do think it's a bit cheesy, but I do think it, yeah, as you said, it carries a lot of energy and gets you excited. Especially if you've already gone over that hump and, like, yeah, you're ready for this game. It's definitely that kind of celebration aspect to it. So, yeah, I'll give it a 8.5.
Firewatch was a game I heard a lot of people talking about at PAX. I did not check it out. I have not seen it. I couldn't tell you what's going on in Firewatch.
Yeah, I had never heard of this game before.
And I guess that would be the question. What do you know about this game, Kyle?
All I know is Ollie Moss did the art. Ollie Moss does all those really cool like Star Wars posters and book art for video games. And then then I watched this trailer, and it seems like a lot of normal things happen in this trailer, though the VO seems to hint otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a high contrast with the lighting. It looks really nice. It has an effect to it to where, you know, it's not really realistic, but it's not super cartoony either. I mean, the dialogue is what drives this. You know, there's a lot of tension in the actors' voices, and there's definitely something more going on here.
Can you do that with the trailer? With the trailer announcement, with really trying to bring people in the room for that first pitch and trying to sell them a game? Is two people having an argument enough?
Like, watching it now, I'm so pumped for this game. I think that the silly dialogue and the way it's read gives you a weird tone on this. Because at one point, he's just like, hey, and about last night, we're not going to talk about it. I don't want that in your trailer. You shouldn't put that in your trailer. That's bad dialogue. Don't do that. Basically, we see a pretty interesting, like, traversal. We see an environment, and it looks like we just do... We choose to do those things, as this guy who throws his arms up in the air as he walks. It looks very, very interesting. There's some poorly performed dialogue here, and I don't know if it's the dialogue's fault or the actor's fault, but that stuff disinterests me in the game.
But again, it's just visuals. The one thing that we do have to grab onto in this, as opposed to just wandering around hallways, which we'll get to actually in our next trailer, is we have his movement. We have his tools in his hands. He's actually playing the game. So we get a little sense of that. But does it feel weird not seeing their faces, not knowing what these people look like, not seeing their lips move? Is that the point? Is that kind of the draw that we're supposed to wonder, oh, is this conversation happening right now, or did it happen before? Or is it so distant from each other that you end up not caring?
Well, I get a sense that you're going to be on your walkie-talkie talking to her while you're doing something else. And that's kind of how these conversations are going to play out. And in contrast to Kyle, I actually think that tension is what kind of makes this game intriguing to me. You're walking around the woods and you're doing what, you know? You're waiting for something to burn. And that's the other weird thing too, is that you're not actually, they're talking out smoke in the distance and things like that. But you don't see any smoke, really. You don't see any fires. So I'm curious how that will actually play out. Is it going to be very scripted? Is it going to be a dynamic thing where fires start up here? And then again, it seems like there's some weird, like, mystical element to what's causing these fires somehow.
One thing that keeps coming up that I try to often remind myself about trailers, I think is extremely important, is how far ahead of the viewer you can stay. You know, how far ahead of you as far as your expectations. So every time I'm throwing you something new, you're absorbing that new thing. And if I catch up to you, then the trailer's over. You know, if I get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, I get it, got it. And it's like, oh no, we got a whole other minute of this. And it's like, I don't need to watch that unless there's going to be some new enemy or some new environment or something. Or I'm just so into the groove, kind of like the Led Zeppelin song we were just talking about, where it's like, well, I'd blow stuff up, I don't care, I love this song. Where, like you're saying, when they start having that argument, what about last night? Then it's like, oh, there's a disagreement between the two of them. And then I feel we never really get much further past that. Maybe they're holding back because it is the debut, because it is the first time they're showing it, so they just want to tease you a little bit. Would you say the VO is bad, Kyle? You really drop on VO. You weren't happy with the VO from Destiny.
Because they're all artists, you know what I mean?
There's
they're
really
all
bad VO coming up in the next trailer.
Yeah. You're right, weird little common thread today.
By comparison.
Yeah. I guess what's interesting here is we hear, don't go down in that hole, and then we see us go down in that hole. That's a good thing. That's a good way to end your trailer that was full of mystery and a weird feeling in the first place. And it's hard to knock a trailer completely just before it's voice acting, you know?
I give it a 7.7. because it's interesting. It does have a dash of mystery to it. It's not accidental. It's what they wanted to do with this trailer. I respect them for that.
Right. 7.1.
Yeah, I was actually real close to you. I was a 7.8. It definitely gets me interested in the game, but like I said, there's some things that, yeah, it feels like they could have done a little bit more to kind of tease you, and because again, like gameplay-wise, it feels like you're just wandering around a little bit.
It looks real pretty, and now that we're looking back at this original shot, I like the contrast between this gorgeous blue. Because I'm assuming that's where she is. She's back at the tower or whatever.
I think you're up there sometimes too. When you're checking your map.
You can see him in the beginning, kind of walking down. But it's just like the conversation starts here, so this is like home, this is happiness, and by the end of the trailer, we're really out in the thick of it, where there's nobody around, we're by ourselves, and who knows what he's going to encounter when he goes down in the tunnel. And who knows what the heck this game's going to be about. I'm glad none of us knew, actually.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Hearken, a convicted villain, a stain on humanity, and yet now, the world's only hope.
So this trailer is a pick-me-up from last week. This trailer should have been in the last episode of Let's All Go to the Trailers, which, of course, is not going to happen. And we've been talking about VO so much, so, let's really get into it.
Yeah.
This game looks great. It plays well. It's very Dark Souls-y, but I think is maybe a little more fantasy-based. Has some more interesting plays on maybe some physics and some background environments and stuff like that than stuff I've seen in just the typically 120% dreary Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But
by the time you got to Monastery, all I could think of was monotone. So
this is not working. And I wonder how long you have. I think you got about 45 seconds of somebody talking before some other completely different music track needs to come in. That person needs to start talking about something totally different. We need to see them, So
yeah,
I think.
Well, I think that's one of the problems is they're trying to really get you into what there's a pop on the flame right there too. I noticed it was really annoying me. The level of detail just changes. But one of the things that kind of bothers me with this is they're trying to get you invested in the story, and they're telling you about these characters, but you don't see any of them. And if you have a bunch of characters with weird names, you gotta put me in and okay, who are you talking about? I'm supposed to keep track of all this. So I think that's one of the things. And the other is that there's not anything happening. You got a bunch of pretty environment shots, and there's no level of detail.
Yeah.
I think this trailer's trying to do two different things at the same time. It's trying to be an environment trailer, and it's trying to be a lore trailer. And I don't think those two things mesh. They can mesh if you're being passive about it. Let's just pick a random person and have them talk. Super helps if we can see them. If you start off, the trailer when you see some guy, some old man in a chair or something. Let me tell you where I've been, and then you're going back and okay, so now I know what he looks like, what his environment looks like. I can compare it to these things. A little bit of context. It doesn't feel like some guy's in a booth trying to be spooky, which is immediately where my brain goes when I hear this guy start talking. And again, it's not so much into the story. It's a little bit of flavor, but really what you're supposed to be looking at is environments. If you're going to go the story route, then you can show some environments, but put some enemies in them. Maybe show the hero at the end walking out so we can see the hero in the environment, so we know oh, okay, that's me, and then I'm going to go in.
I feel like we've seen very little of enemies in this. A lot of times I just keep seeing that same enemy.
Good point.
I think 2 shots had enemies in them. Yeah, it's pretty barren.
But if we get tons of lore-heavy dialogue and then just a simple fly-through, they can't be the toughest thing in the world to do once the environments are built. Just setting up the camera, putting it on rails, and then boom, you have a trailer.
Yeah. Oh, I think we definitely can confirm that this is in engine with some of the little.
Look at the way his shield clips through his wrist. Yeah. Good grief, man.
But
Get your shield together.
But maybe it's built onto his glove. Maybe it's glove shield.
Okay.
I think this trailer would be better if it had just been music. They literally and just call it.
There is a point where the VO drops out and the music picks up, and it's oh yeah, this is cool.
There you go. So then I would get it. Then it's oh okay, all I'm supposed to be paying attention to is the environments, and there we go. They got some enemies there.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit what the guy is saying. The things that the guy are saying is built on the lore that you have in this world, but the excitement that he's having, and who are we? Who is he talking to? Is he talking to an actual person? I
think he says Harkin a few times.
Can we set that up? Definitely.
Yeah.
More than a few times. But who is that? And I feel like this dialogue was written for the trailer. There's no way the cinema just pops up in the game and just happens to fit the running time of this trailer. So this is clearly something that they wrote just for this piece of advertising. But it's kind of a pretty game. 6.8. That's bad. It's still pretty decent though. No, this
Stick
is a
to
6.
your score.
No, this
Stick
is
to your score.
This is
Yeah.
a 6. This is a 6.
Oh, whoa, flat
Yeah,
6.
I'm dropping.
Nice. I remember we had a Dragon Age environment trailer that I think I ranked pretty high. And it's cool to see this because you get the distinction between the two. In this case, there's not a lot of variance in the environments we see, and they're not escalating. In fact, we go back to some. So it's like, okay, now this one again, and then back to that one. And you want to take us somewhere. You want to take us, plan out which environments you're showing us and why. Make sure there's no weird graphical pop-ins as we travel through these. It bothers me so much to go through an environment where there's an enemy standing there waiting for the player to show up. Doesn't look at the camera, we just fly right by as he just keeps standing there waiting for the player to come into the room. That's not a world, you know what I mean? You're not showing a world, you're showing a video game level. This to me is a very bad environmental trailer for also a lot of the reasons you two mentioned. This is a 4.1.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of flat and boring, and I like the environments. I think this is a game that so far I've not been able to get excited about, but I think I will enjoy playing. It's one of those. I feel like there's been a few of those this year. But yeah, I'll give it a flat 5.
So there we go. There were 3 trailers. Not necessarily the hottest trailers. Destiny's pretty hot. A lot of people were talking about
That's
that
a hot
this week.
trailer.
It's hot.
Yeah.
You know, we choose to focus on stuff that we can really get into, like what's going on in this trailer specifically. Not that
Right.
this, gaming announcement, POKKEN happened, POKKEN tournament, lots of other trailers.
Not a great trailer.
But not a lot to talk about there. It was
Yeah.
just short. They showed a couple characters. It's kind of obvious to see what's going on.
The
in trailer,
HATOFUL
but-
boyfriend making fun of live streamers is pretty funny.
Yeah, so there are other really great, to jump to that one, HATOFUL Boyfriend had a really great launch trailer of a guy.
Which is annoying. They didn't have trailers before, so I couldn't put it on Games of the Month because I don't have any video other than other people let's playing.
Did you have time to watch that one, Kyle?
Yeah,
Afterwards.
I didn't think it was just funny. To me, the easiest joke is to have your live streamer yelling at his mom to get him something. Don't do that joke.
I thought the jokes were really quick. I thought it fit the game perfectly. I thought it was good.
Well, that's the thing is it didn't fit the game perfectly. It's an interesting way to advertise the game because it's like the game itself is very sincere in, hey, you're dating pigeons. And so this
Right.
ad was not an ad for that. It's kind of like, hey, this is we are aware of how silly this game is.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would be the point. Is
Yeah.
the not necessarily the game itself, but the activity of approaching the game.
Right.
What is this? What on birds and their match? This is crazy. And so I like the launch, specifically a launch trailer, kind of like their last attempt to get people into it.
Sure.
I thought it was a good attitude to have. Dragon Quest Heroes got announced at the pre-TGS Sony press conference and trolled everybody. Waited way too long to actually get into gameplay.
You're right, and I think that's almost unfair. I think they should have done, in this case, title up front. Hey everyone, this is gonna be a a Dynasty Warriors-esque game up front. Don't play with us when you haven't announced 11 yet. Don't play around.
Or
But
if they had done something like Hyrule Warriors had some weird like remixes of some of the songs that were kind of more rock style. You know, if they had done something like that, it would be kind of funny.
This trailer's almost mean.
It is very mean, but intentionally mean? Is that what they wanted to go for? Do they want to troll people? They want to hold on that announcement? They want to whet your anticipation?
Sure.
But it is cruel when done specifically with a game like Dragon Quest that deserves a full console sequel. Because we were talking about Destiny a little bit, we got 2 other live-action trailers. One for Resident Evil Revelations 2, which you liked.
I like
and
this
you
trailer.
didn't like, Blood.
I did not like. Yeah.
I thought it was a little short and weird. I guess I would much rather see gameplay for an announcement, but
Very unusual Resident Evil trailer. For an announcement for a Resident Evil game, I thought that was kind of classy move. I thought that was cool.
sure, the question is it what they meant to do originally, or is it what they did because they're like, oh, we really want to make a big announcement from Capcom, and all we have is this game, and we have no gameplay. Uh-oh, better get a little girl and some extras in a room. And, was it one shot because that was artistically how they wanted to do it, or did they save money on it being one shot?
Oh
Who
man,
knows?
no way. I think there's definitely a ton of effort put into that trailer.
Yeah.
But is it enough effort, Kyle,
Yes.
for Resident Evil?
For me, at least.
For Revelations 2, it probably is
Yeah, exactly.
a pretty...
More than expected.
A pretty awesome amount of effort.
Yeah.
And nostalgia, which I love. Did you guys take the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
drags his poor son out of bed.
Batman, right?
Well, Batman was definitely a sell. Well, it was just an interesting way to sell a game. That's the whole point of Let's All Go to the Trailer. It's like, wow, what an interesting way to sell your game, buddy. You could have put any game in there. It doesn't actually tell you how to play the game in question. You just see the dad, mousing over the screen, and he's like, why this reminds me of me being a child. It's like, why this game in particular?
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, it's called nostalgia. It plays on nostalgia. The whole idea is, you know, your dad taught you to play games. It's time for you to sleep deprive your children and teach them to play games.
And I guess what sucks is like I bought into it. Like this trailer made me cry. It was so sad. And then I looked at the game, and this game isn't as good as that Batman Amiga game. Like this is not that game. I think it's unfair to sell this game that way, basically.
That was kind of the moment I was waiting for, is the kid to turn around from holding the joystick and be like, Dad, this game is terrible. You know? And those are some of the more interesting trailers from the last couple weeks. Again, many apologies for having an irregular schedule. We will be back next Sunday and every other Sunday after that. We're going to have a Let's Watch this week as well that you can check out. Thank you so much, Kyle and Daniel, for your patience. No, thank you. Oh, we got to pick trailer of the week. Where would I be without you, Kyle? See, we got to get back in the rhythm of these things. I vote for Destiny. I thought it was great. I think compared to all of those, we didn't like any of these other trailers.
I vote for Persona 5, but I think Destiny's definitely a great runner-up. I gave it a bad score, but that's a sick trailer.
Yeah, I'd go with Destiny. Out of these, you know, we can't keep our heads straight to everything else we got through the past couple of weeks, but yeah, out of this group for sure.
It is the game of the moment and a fun way to launch your game. And more dinklage. What's wrong with that? Maybe those are lines we're taking from the game. Who knows? So congratulations, Destiny. Thank you all so much for watching. Check out our Let's Watch episode and come back next week. See you then.